That looks really dodgy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a casual look ready for the gym. I'm just joking. This, if you didn't get it from the title already, is going to be an Indian wedding guest tutorial. So that is basically if somebody is going as a guest to a wedding and they want to put makeup on and they're looking for some ideas and some looks. This is something that I wore as a guest to a wedding that I recently went to, which was super fun, and I did a vlog on that, which I will leave up here if you're interested. This look can go with almost any outfit. I wear this look really often. It's with one of my favorite palettes, which you'll see in the tutorial. Now I know you're not going to watch this video without subscribing, so I'm going to help you out. The button's down there, it's a red button. You can click on that and you will see more videos from me. Also, if you have an Instagram account, you can check out my profile. It is @simsagur. I generally take most of my requests from there because it's just easier. If you want to see how I got this look, then please keep watching. The first thing I try and do is go in with a Glam Glow mask. It's going to tighten up your skin and make it look really firm for when you're applying makeup on. It also brightens your skin as well. So I do my best to make time for this every time I go to an event. It's a peel mask, so you put it on and you leave it, and then when it's dry, you peel it off. You've got your new firm skin underneath. On days where I don't really have time to do the peel mask, I go in with an exfoliator like the Nip and Fab glycolic scrub. The main aim of doing this is to make your skin appear brighter before you start your skin prep, so that everything is smooth, clean and ready to go. Once I'm ready to start, I begin with my skin prep. What that basically means is I start by prepping and moisturizing my skin just so that it's okay for the makeup to go on top, because you don't want your skin to be so dry, otherwise it will make your makeup look dry and then it would just be a cakey mess at the end of the night. So it's really important that you get your skin prep right. I personally think that it doesn't matter what skin type you are, you always need hydration before you put makeup on, because you don't want it to dry out or you don't want it to break down or anything. I generally go in with a spray. This is the Hangover 3-in-1 replenishing primer and setting spray. You can use it to prime, set and refresh. I'm going to be using this as a primer for now, so I'm going to put this all over. I love this because I feel like it keeps my skin hydrated. Next I'm going to use the Varsali Rose Gold Elixir oil. Now I know that some people don't really like using oils before they put makeup on, especially if you have oily skin, but this has such good ingredients. It's got rosehip oil, orange peel and it's got vitamin E, so they are all going to help brighten your skin. I feel like it's going to add a tiny bit more of an extra glow underneath my foundation. And for my final step of moisturizer, I go in with the Embryo Release cream. This gives that final step to feeling hydrated when you've got makeup on, and all of this is going to help glide your foundation on and your base on really nicely, and it's going to make sure that it doesn't cake up around those dry areas. I'm taking the MAC Strobe cream in Gold Light. I like to put this on the highest points of my face just to give that extra glow. It's basically a moisturizer with like gold flecks in there. I like to put it here on the tops of my cheekbone, on my forehead, mainly those areas. You see that it gives me like a nice little shine just where my foundation would be. One of my favorite foundations to use for events, especially Indian weddings, is Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I am in the shade 7.5, and the reason I love this is it gives a really nice glowy look to your skin. It's not too heavy, it looks really nice in photos, and it's really full coverage. A little really goes a long way. Warm it up with my finger and then just start by applying this on the center of my face. And taking the Fenty sponge, I'm just going to blend that out. And then keep doing that process all over your face. My favourite thing about this foundation is that it's lightweight, but yet it's full coverage. So you don't get that cakey feeling, but it does cover all those areas which, you know, want to cover. Can you see how much better my skin's looking already? Generally for me, I like to keep my foundation light and not too full coverage, in the sense that I don't like to cake it on, because I'm putting so many products on top that it's going to cover all those areas of pigmentation anyway. So I don't need to go in with a full layer of foundation in the beginning. It's generally just a base to create a blank canvas, so I can go in and do my highlighting, contouring, bronzing, whatever I want to do. And also with my foundations, I like to go slightly peachier and orangier. I know that some people don't like to, and there are other foundations which have less orange and peachy tones in there, but I really like it because it's my first base. I want to kind of color correct all those areas of pigmentation as well, so that when I put stuff on top, it's not going to look grey. I've got just small dark spots all over my face, which you can't really tell unless you're looking up close in person. But if I put a lighter foundation on, you're going to really tell, because that area is going to go grey and ashy. And I find that a lot of times when I see pictures of people with foundation on, they tend to go for the overall colour of their face instead of looking at what they might need to colour correct or what areas need more attention. And because of that, their foundation looks a tiny bit lighter and their face looks a different colour from their body in their photos as well. I think that's enough coverage for foundation. I know it's a lot lighter than what most people are used to seeing on YouTube, but this is generally what I like on my face. You can see that it's covered up and colour corrected all my dark patches, apart from this one. This one's coming through a tiny bit, but I don't want to put too much foundation on. If you're new here, I don't really like too much liquid around the outside of my face. I like it more powdered and, like, you know, something that doesn't move around too much, especially if I'm like moving my hair or doing something or touching my face. You're gonna see these marks if you put too much liquid around there, and you don't really need that much liquid towards the back of your face anyway. Now, that's just my opinion, but you do you. Anyway, so that is my face with just foundation on. I don't like too much because, like I said, I'm going to go with more products on top. Oh, another thing I love about this foundation is that there's no SPF in there, so this is not going to cause flashback. You know, in some photos where you see a really bright face on a brown person's body, and it's because some of the foundations have SPF ingredients. I'll probably do a foundation video, talk about all my favorite products and what I like about them and what I look out for when shopping for foundations. But this is going to be really good in your photos. It's not going to have any flashback. It's going to look really dewy. You're going to look really glowy. One of my favorites. For concealer, I'm going to go in with one of my favorite concealers ever, and this is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in the color NC42. I know it's slightly peachy and orangey in the back of my hand and in the bottle, but that's exactly the reason I like it. It's got the right amount of yellow, peach, orange undertone, which is going to color correct my under eyes, because as you saw from the demonstration, I don't really apply the foundation there. I just blend it up just so that there's a seamless blend from concealer to foundation. I apply this everywhere that I've got pigmentation, so under my eyes, around my mouth, on the side of my face sometimes if I'm really particular, but most of the time I just leave this area out because I usually bronze or contour there, so it kind of brings the tone back to normal anyway. Can you see that it kind of brightens the under eye, but it doesn't make it look too light? If you like a really highlighted under eye, you can go ahead and put some more lighter concealer under there, but I personally like to keep it like that, especially when I want a fresh glowy look like the one I'm trying to create today, because it's going to be more of a South Asian kind of look rather than a really dramatic highlighted and contoured kind of look. What I love about this concealer is that it's, again, full coverage and the consistency is really nice as well. It's slightly thick. You can mix it in with some cream just to thin it out a tiny bit, and it works really well once you've powdered your face. I know that a lot of people say don't do this, but once you've powdered your face, you're not meant to put cream or wet products on top aside from a setting spray. If you want to touch up after a couple of hours and you don't want to go ahead and redo your whole face again, you can put this concealer on top of powder and really gently pat it in, and it's going to really brighten up the under eyes again without breaking up all of the makeup underneath. I used to do that all the time. I just apply this on top of my foundation again, and what would happen is the area would just look brighter and it wouldn't look cakey or anything. And I wasn't even using a setting spray, can you imagine? I was just applying it with my fingers. So I don't have pigmentation here, but the reason I apply concealer up there is because that area tends to break down. So concealer has more of a stronger consistency than the foundation, so it's going to really hold it together up there when I start sweating. But no one needs to know, my concealer is going to hide that all for me. Now that we've prepared the blank canvas, so to speak, I like to go in with a bronzing base. So any sort of liquid bronzer, or this one is the Chanel one. You can go in with W7, which is a lot more affordable, which does the same kind of thing, but I just love the way this smells and I just love the way that it looks. It's really subtle. The W7 has really tiny gold specks and you can't really tell the difference, but this one is just a simple bronzing base which you can use. And the aim here is, as you can see, I've got a really flat base now. I just want to add some color and some dimension to the face. I'm using the Sigma round kabuki brush. It's just going to give some life back to my face. As you can see here, I've just applied it basically between the corner contour line and where the highlight is. So right in the middle, where the sun basically would hit your cheek, almost on top of your cheekbone, because I want it to be the base for where my highlight's going to be, but I don't want to cover it up too much. Can you see the glow from the MAC strobing cream is still coming through? That's going to give you the kind of I've just been on holiday look. So you just want to lightly pat over. You don't really want to like swipe, because that's going to take off the foundation and all the hard work that you've done underneath. My favorite thing about bronzer, and I go through so many of them, is the fact that you can be quite carefree with them and you don't really have to put them in a certain area. Like, you can really messily go all over your face, and I like to hit the nose as well, just to make it look like I've been kissed by the sun. Usually I don't really do anything more than bronzing. I barely ever go in with a contour these days. A lot of people can go in too heavy with contouring. I don't remember whose video I was watching, but there was a makeup artist there, and he said contouring these days is like a bad toupee. You're not fooling anybody. We can see it. The whole point of contouring is that you create a really subtle sculpt to the face. It's not meant to be so thick. Can you see that glow? It's coming through. Yeah, it's all in the skin prep. I'm not kidding you. Everyone's like, oh, I love the way you do your makeup, and it's just because I spend time on my skin prep and I make sure that my base is perfect, so that when I put my foundation on, it's gonna look really good. Taking some down. Just taking some down to my neck. Also, generally my face is darker than my body because I tend to wear tops like this all the time and cover my shoulders and everything, so I'm really fair around this area. So when I have a slightly more open outfit to wear, I will generally take my powder bronzer down to my chest and just bronze up my chest a bit, just to make sure it doesn't look too brown and then white. This is a really nice product for people with dry skin because it gives that really dewy skin look to your face. I love it. Now with this look, because it is going to be a fresh South Asian kind of glowy look, I wouldn't generally contour, but I know how you people are. Some of you can't leave your house without contouring, so this is how I would contour if I was going to. This Smashbox contour pencil, I would just put this right at the top, where the top of my ear is, not even down here, because when you blend it out, it's gonna smush down and then it's gonna give you a really low cheekbone. Can you see? You don't really actually need it because the bronzer enhances your cheekbone anyway, but if you have to, I would go slightly higher here and just, that is it. And the same on the other side. There we go. And I'm just going to blend this upwards. You don't want to blend it side to side. You don't want to blend it up and down. You want to push in, push up and out. In, up, out. And basically go in that movement and blend it downwards where you want it. Can you see it's like really created that sharp line just back there? And then when you're forward, you can't really see it, just goes into nothing. And that's what we want. You can just pat it in as well, but you want to make sure that it doesn't go down. There you go. You don't want to see that brown strip. Can you see that? You can't really see that brown line on me. That looks really dodgy. Where I will personally contour is around the forehead, because my forehead is big. I just want to darken that up a tiny bit, just so it looks a bit smaller and a bit cuter. You know, these days I look like I have a +1 to a party because of the size of my flipping forehead. We're supposed to love ourselves, aren't we? Anyways, so now that the contouring is done, that's as far as I'm going to go. And quickly put some of this mineralized skin finish powder over my face. Just lightly, and also lightly set my under eyes with Soft Focus from MAC. And then what else? Oh, blush. Oh, so for my outfit, I'm going to be wearing a light green outfit, and it's got bits of pink in there and bits of gold, so I'll probably put the gold on my eyes and maybe a tiny bit of pink, but not where you can see it. I just want it to be really subtle and really look like it's coming together with the outfit. But because it's got pink on there, I'm going to go in with pink blush. I'm going to take this from Bobbi Brown. This is Nectar. I know that's really bright in the pan, but what we're going to do is we're going to put a tiny bit in there on the back of my hand, just so that the top layer comes off. Smile so you get your cheekbones, and really fluff it across. I love this brush. This is the Charles Fox 81460/33. You don't need this brush. You just want something which is really soft and fluffy and that is not too dense. Just so when you put your blush on, it really nicely disperses it over your cheeks. Can you see that even though I put powder on my face, you can still see that glow coming through? That is what we want to achieve. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows, eyes and lips, and then I'm going to come back and do any touch-ups. I'm going to put some highlighter on at the end. For brows, I'm going to be using Gimme Brow in the shade number 3 and precisely my brow pencil in the shade 5. This brow gel is really nice because it's a tinted brow gel, so I can go in at the beginning of my eyebrow and basically color in any of those sparse areas just gently, so that I don't need to go in with a pencil afterwards, and I can just take the pencil to define further, especially on the outside of the eyebrow. But this is just going to comb through those hairs and really gently apply some product. I quite like this, but a lot of people are saying that the Glossier Brow Boy Brow, what is it? One of them is much better because it keeps the hairs in place much better, but I quite like this. I'll try that next time and then I'll let you know. For eyebrows, I generally like using pencil, especially if you're a beginner, you want to use a pencil, but if you're more comfortable, you can use a brow gel. The Anastasia Brow Gel dip brows are really nice as well, and I like using those for longevity. I just go in, can you see where there's sparse areas under here? I don't want to go across like that. I want to keep the eyebrows soft, so I just want to put the pencil down and draw a line upwards as if there was a hair there. You know, when you have to do eyebrows, you have to try and relax your eyebrow, because I find that I end up going like this and then I can't match it to the other side. I need to relax it. Naturally, everyone's left eyebrow is slightly more raised than the right eyebrow, so mine is a tiny bit more prominent because I have those hairs which stick up like that. But anyway, I have a brow tutorial which I will link up here. It's quite an old one. I'll see if I can update that one with some of the new products that I'm using, but that's generally what I do. And especially if you don't know how to create your own brows on your own face shape, in that tutorial I go through how to create that, so check that out. I like my brows looking really fluffy and bushy. I know other people like theirs thin, but just do you. You kind of figure out what looks nice on your face. Can you see how much it shapes my face just by creating a really nice full brow? Yes. Right, okay, let's do this side. I generally start my eyebrows right in the arch, just because if I'm slightly heavy-handed, it's okay, because that's where I want the darkest part of my brow to be. I would never start at the beginning like this, even though sometimes you see me starting here. I generally go right here, and then I work my way backwards once I've got the feel of how much pressure I want. You don't want it to look like Nike ticks, you just want it to look really nice and fluffy. Well, I want your brows to look really nice and fluffy, so that's how I'm going to teach you. With brows, you have to kind of take a step back every time you do something, just to see that you're not going too crazy, and just brush it out. Oh, that's another thing I do actually. I run my fingernail across the edge just to clean up that edge a tiny bit. That is it for brows. We don't want to go too much. For the eye look, I'm going to keep it simple, so you can use this whatever you're wearing. If you have to change the colours up a tiny bit, you can do. I'm going to be using the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. It's one of my favourite palettes ever. I just love how the tones are. It's coming up to autumn time. This is a really fun palette. You can create so many good looks as well. I love all the colours, but because my outfit's got a tiny bit of gold and pinks in there, I'll be dipping into gold, the browns, and maybe a tiny bit of the pinks. Not so much, I just want to keep it subtle, but we'll see how that goes. For the eye primer, I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion today. This is the original. It's got more of a pinky base. I think they have one with a yellowy kind of base now, which is the one I'm going to try next, but this is the one that I picked up when I went to the store. Just going to put this all over, and I've got really oily eyelids, so I need an eye primer. I'm going to hold it down for the whole night. It's not going to crack, and it's going to have those like lines, you know. Pat that in with my finger. Okay, right, I'm going to try and make this as easy as possible, because I know that a lot of people really struggle with eyeshadows. Also, when you're going to events, you're kind of like rushed for time. No one ever estimates how much time they need when they go to an event. I know I am always rushing for time. And start by taking raw sienna. It's a really nice, slightly warm kind of brown, and I'm going to take that and put that all over the eye, mainly in the crease, and bring that all the way to the inner and the outer. And what that's going to do, it's going to be the transition color. So if I put any eyeshadow on my eyes, it's going to blend up really nicely into my brow bone. Take that out a tiny bit because I want to create an elongated eye, so I'm going to go further than my eye shape, but just keeping in that kind of rounded eye shape that I've got going. You want to bring this color all the way to the inner corner, and don't be afraid to take your eyeshadow up past your crease. I know that a lot of people keep it low, but neutral colors like this you can take really high up, almost to your brow bone, and it will basically open your eyes and make it look a lot wider. Next, I'm going to take the shade Antique Bronze, which is this shade right here. There's a really nice sheen to it. I'm just going to pop this all over my lid and take it up to the crease, so all over. I do these two colours so often. It's so pretty for either daytime or evening, Indian wedding glam, whatever you want to do. I'm going to zoom you in a bit more. There you go. Zoom you in nice and close. Oh, I'm also using a MAC 242 brush. It's a flat synthetic brush. It's really going to pack that colour. Can you see that fallout? I'm not going to scream. I'm just going to pick it up, dust it away. Pick it up, dust it away. If you ever get fallout, don't use your fingers to pick it up. That's possibly the worst thing you can do, because the warmth from your finger will just melt the product right into your face again, and then you'll have to really work hard to correct that. Then taking Urban Decay Perversion eyeliner, it's a black eyeliner, you can use any one. I'm just going to tightline my upper waterline, and that is basically the inside. I just lift it up, it looks gross, inside that line, just underneath. What that's going to do is it's going to add definition to your eye. It's going to make your lashes look thicker. It's going to make your entire eye look more dramatic without being too much. I'm also going to take that onto the lower waterline. It does not have to be tidy. It can be slightly messy because we're going to blend that out. I know it looks crazy right now, but hold on, stay with me. Going again with this eyeliner, I'm just going to go above the lash line and blend in between the lashes. Once again, this does not have to be neat. I'm taking a flat blending brush. This one is by Eco Tools. I don't know the name. You can use any flat blending brush. I'm just going to smudge top of that liner. And just take a step back and see how much more you want to go. So I can see that this side is not as dark as the other side. I just add a tiny bit more black. What that's also going to do by putting on the top is lift the eye a tiny bit. And then what I like to do to soften that further is I take a pencil brush. This is the MAC 219. It's just a pencil brush. I use it all the time. I'm going to go into Cypress Umber, which is this brown shade right here. Tap it off, apply that on top of the black to soften it and make it look like it's not so aggressive. Just by the lash line, you don't want to take this colour too far up. Then with the same brush and no extra colour, you're going to look up and blend underneath. You know where that crazy line is? You just want to blend that just so it gives a really soft look to the overall eye, and it's going to make your eye look a bit bigger when you bring that line down. Can you see what a huge difference it's made just to bring that shadow down? It just looks more put together, it looks more dramatic. It doesn't take such an effort to do. Then taking this colour, which is Love Letter right here, a really bright pink, take it on the same pencil brush, gently rub that on the back of your hand because you don't want too much of that bright pink coming through. I'm just going to blend that underneath my eye a tiny bit just to make it look slightly different. I don't know if you can tell, it just gives that hint of something extra without it being too powerful. And then another fun thing I like to do is I like to take this colour Primavera, which is a bright gold, just pat my finger on it slightly so you get the tiniest amount of product and pop it into the centre of my eye. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring light into the centre of my eye so it doesn't look so dark. I'm just going to apply some mascara and lashes and then I'll be right back. I've just put mascara on, but I wanted to quickly show you what it looks like with just mascara on. You don't need lashes, but I personally prefer wearing them, so I will just pop them on. But I wanted to let you know that you didn't necessarily need them for this look, but it does look pretty on its own without lashes too. See you in a sec. Okay, now that the lashes are on, you can kind of see how much you want to adjust the look. So for example, I want to add some brightness to the inner corners of my eyes, so I'm going to go in again with Primavera, which is this gold shade. And I'm going to put that on a small brush. This is the Morphe 326, and put a tiny bit on the inner corner there just to bring some light into that area. Oh, the lashes I use are Ardell Wispies. They're a bit different from the Demi Wispies, which I'm normally used to, but it's the first thing that came into my hand. And I can also see that right here, I want to go with a tiny bit more black at the edges just to make the look come together a tiny bit more. Right on the outer corner of the eye. And then taking that same blending brush, just going to blend that in very slightly, but we don't want to move it around too much. Just want to make sure there are no harsh lines. For lips, I'm going to keep it more on the pinky shade, but I want it slightly more neutral as well, so I'm going to mix the two together. I'm going to start with Soar Lip Liner from MAC. Just going to line the outside of my lips and maybe the outer corners. Oh, I love this lip liner, it's such a nice colour. Then going in with MAC Half and Half lipstick. It's a really pretty pink, almost like a nude shade. And pop that on the inside of my lips. You can leave it like that, or I think I'm going to go in with a tiny bit more bronzer. So I'm going to go in with Hoola Bronzer by Benefit, just using the brush that it comes with. Just going to go on the outside of my face. And then down the nose. And then to finish the look, even though you don't need it, I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of highlighter just around the outside of my face to pick the light up. I quite like the way that it's already on my cheeks. I don't want to go too far on that. I'm going to take that up into the forehead as well. I want the light to hit whenever I turn. Lastly, I just want to knock back the shine just where the high points of my face are. So taking Soft Focus from MAC again. Just going to go under the eyes again, around my smile lines, on the chin, and that is it. I'm just going to quickly change into my outfit so you can see the entire look together. I'll be right back. So this is the finished look with the outfit. So it's really, really pretty. With this kind of outfit, I like to keep the jewelry simple. I've just put some studs on and I put a tikka, which is really simple in Indian terms. But yeah, I have a tikka video, which I will link up here. Go and check that out. That shows you how you can place your tikka without it moving all day, especially if you're performing for the event. I love this makeup look along with this kind of outfit because the outfit is really full and heavy, and then the makeup look is really fresh and soft. It just complements each other. Let me know if you try this look out. Tag me on Instagram at @simsagu or #simsagu. I'd love to see your looks. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed down below if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! If I want to see how I got this, look, but I did this look. It's stupid. There you can see. Oh, focus, you. Now I know that some people don't really like using oils before they put makeup on, especially if you have oily skin, but I find it helps. What am I saying? For Indian wedding guest makeup. It's gonna be a Indian guest. What was I talking about?